Hello. In this video, we're going to start identifying which transformations happen to the parent function, and we're also going to identify the parent function itself. Okay, so looking through each one of these, there's only going to be one transformation for each of these, and let's highlight those. So for A, we have y equals 3x squared. The transformation is the 3 here. And so that makes the parent function to be y equals x squared. It's the quadratic, and the parent function's quadratic looks something like that, where it actually goes through the origin, preferably. Still not great. Wow. There you go, close enough. So that's what the parent function would look like. This 3 is not in a parentheses with the x, and it would be different if there was a parentheses around the 3x. Instead, the 3 is on the outside of a parentheses, where technically the base is just the x there. So this is going to be a vertical transformation of some sort. So this is a vertical something. If it's multiplying, means stretch. If it's adding or subtracting, that means shift. So this would be a vertical, and this is multiplying, so this would be a stretch. So it's a vertical stretch. Now, it's vertical because it's outside of parentheses. In other words, it's not directly associated with the x. Good deal. Oh, yes, it's a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. Good deal. Next, let's look at letter B. Letter B says y equals 1/3 times the absolute value of x. Looking at this, notice that the 1/3 is actually going to be the transformation. So the parent here is actually y equals the absolute value of x. So that's the absolute value function, and that looks like the V shape. Good deal. The question is what is the transformation? The transformation, that 1/3 is on the outside of the absolute value, so it's going to be vertical. So it's vertical. And then notice that it is also going to be a stretch because it's multiplying by the absolute value, so it's going to be a vertical stretch by a factor of 1/3. And that's pretty much it there. Awesome. Next, let's look at letter C. We have y equals negative square root of x. Notice that that negative is the transformation there. And the parent function is y equals the square root of x. This is called the square root function. And the parent function looks like this. Or at least something like that. Close enough. As for the transformation, because it's a negative, negatives are going to create reflections. And since it's on the outside, it affects the y value. And remember, if it affects the y value, it goes to the other side of the x-axis. Therefore, this is a reflection across the x-axis. Wonderful. Now for letter D. Y equals x squared minus 6. Notice that this minus 6 is over here by itself. It's not affecting the x, so this is going to be a y value, something that affects the y value. So this is going to tell us that the parent function, first of all, is going to be y equals x squared. Again, this is the quadratic. And the graph of the parent function looks something like that. Good. And again, that negative 6 is on the outside, so it affects the y value. So this is going to be vertical. But this time it is an addition or subtraction, and an addition or subtraction means shift. So this is a vertical shift, and then technically it says down 6 units. But what you would use in my math lab would just say minus 6. So the vertical shift is minus 6. Alrighty. Well, I believe that that's it for this particular video. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, and I will see you in the next one. Have fun.